I also understand what this guy's saying because I'm just being honest. That's all it takes, a little bit of honesty and say, you know what, I want, if he's for real, if this guy's got the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and he's pointing me to the, to one true God that can save me and take me into a better world, I want that because, yeah, this world does kind of suck. I mean, who doesn't have some reason to say, it sucks, man? Something ain't right with this scene, man. Not just all the organic stuff, because that's a whole laundry list, but I mean this unnecessary stuff that's picking on people, my brothers and sisters, my fellow human beings. And if I don't do something about it, I'm culpable. That's why I speak out. That's what we got to do. That attitude. And they don't like it. They don't like it. It stings their ears. They don't like to hear people making demands. They've been in charge. They've been running this ship for a long time, and they want to keep running. They've been okay. Listen. They are going to. I mean, they're going to fight with every demon they got, every powerful demon, every weapon in their tool bag. They're going to come against the righteous because they do not want to be rendered irrelevant. They want to remain in power in this world, and God's putting his foot down at this point in history. He's saying no, and it's happening through knowledge. It's happening through the empowerment that accompanies that knowledge. It's happening at the very finger of God, who gives us this knowledge that yoinks you right out of Babylon. Just the difference between the light's been off in the house the whole time that you've been there, and you didn't even know the difference because you never knew the light. Well, it's switching on that light for people. And it can be a little traumatic, but your values must be in line with his. They must be in sync. You must be on the same page with God, or else you're not right. And that is human beings. That is the least of men. Care about them. Just imagine that God, through aliens, put plants out there. And every one of those people was a plant, an alien being that God planted. And they were Jesus. They were like angels posing, and you didn't know it, but they were actually Jesus. Those men and women suffering unnecessarily and dying out in the street. And then we call ourselves a Christian nation, and you don't have compunction, you don't have shame and guilt about this. I sure do. I thank God I do. I thank God, my sense of gratitude that I'm so great. People in my life, my neighbors, everybody I do business with, they're all wonderful. I love them all. I mean, I tell you what, I'm so grateful to people that serve me. Thank you guys, all of you. I got the Steve putting on my catalytic converter. I mean, he's a great guy, runs a great shop here in town. High Five muffler, I would recommend Steve. But try to get the OEM if you can. If you've got to replace your cat, try to get the bolt-on one. And Pep Boys sells those for $500 something. So you might, if you're, you don't mind working on a car a little, you might replace your catalytic converter yourself. Might be the way to go. But they're over $500 at Pep Boys. But at least you can get them still, because you might not be able to get them from the dealer. But I had a friend of mine repaired my car recently, and I'm just so grateful. I wanted to kiss him, but I thought he would punch me. He's one of these gentle giants of a man. But anyhow, friends, listen. I love everybody. Our values got to be the same as his. Value one another, love one another as ourselves, as our own kids. I mean, think of me the way you want to be, thought of. Okay, that's it. I mean, we've got to start cutting each other a break, giving each other slack, stop being overly judgmental, and just learn to unify and come against these evildoers. That's the best we can do in prayer. God's hand has to be in the mix. We have to be sanctified and approved all the time and know that we're right, and that's all we're doing is demanding justice. And, racism is going to go away, too. None of this crap. I mean, there can't be racists in the kingdom of heaven. I mean, God created all the races. We're all equal. That's the reality. That's nothing up for debate. So if you think you're superior because of your color of your skin, you're delusional. Do you understand? You're insane. So that's what I have to say with anybody out there that is immature in that level. I mean, no way. You won't be there. That's another form of inequality. I want to point out that the fear, a financial fear of insecurity, is very real, tangible, palpable fear. And it's horrible. And these people know it. These are Satanists. I mean, these are just like mean people. I mean, just with the whip, the chain. I mean, these are just mean people, tormentors with the pitchfork, poking at us, making our lives miserable when God wants our lives joyful and free. Do you understand? And in order to be truly free, that's an unconditional term. That's an absolute term. We cannot be bound by the money masters of misery through this thing they innocuously call, euphemistically term, deceitfully call, a cost of living, which is just, of course, you've got a cost of living. Nothing's free. And they've got us all trained, and all these people that sound so logical and smart and pragmatic and educated, and they come out and they parrot this kind of crap. You understand how we're all effed up in the. How do we know up from down? Of course, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. I want you to get it. Okay? And all of us to get it and come against these evil people. All of us. If they can work across the aisle, let us work across the aisle. If you identify with socialists, come on board. You identify with true capitalism, come on board. If you like the Democrats, come on board. If you identify with the Republicans, come on board. Okay, if you prescribe to conservative ideology, come on board. If you prefer a liberal ideology, come on board. Let's all come together against the causers of our problems, all this injustice in our land that seems to know no end. Now they're hiding behind this pandemic. Does that mean they started? I don't know. I don't know everything. I know that they are very diabolical. They're cunning. They're sinister. Okay, they're very stealthy. That's how they operate, in stealth, secrecy. These are the occultists. That means hidden. So they can't do it out in daylight or else they'd be busted. No, you're not getting away with that. Are you kidding? No way. But no, if they do it underhanded and they're subtle and just so cunning and sneaky, the way they do things, the way they operate, their method of operation, it's slimy, it's devilish, demonic, the way they get us trained to believe psycho stuff. So we got. Is it any wonder our heads are full of psychobabble? I mean, what's up? What's down? What's right? What's wrong? Of course, we're all confused. Of course, we're all ignorance. Ignorance is a byproduct of confusion. If you don't understand, and then they say, well, ignorance is bliss, so just go along to get along, conform, comply, capitulate, acquiesce. That's pragmatic. That's what we're told. The smart people keep telling us. Follow the leader, follow them, and somehow it all makes sense. It doesn't at all. At all. I'm thinking of titling this series of videos, Universally Shared Coerced Culpability in Unbridled Corruption. It's about the size of it. Okay, on to some current recent events and other talking points. Last week I talked about paying in public parking when you already pay to register your car is double jeopardy. I meant double dipping, right? That's really what it is. And people getting their cars towed, the impound, and all this crap. That's a scam. It should be rendered unconstitutional. You know, I'm a big proponent of getting rid of all the jails and just going to ethics rehabilitation centers. You know, maybe I belong there sometimes, and I have. I mean, I've done things that the law said no, society said no. You can't go punch the guy because you're jealous. Okay, and you're right. I found out on my own, and I apologized to the guy, even though the court didn't order it. So, usually people come to the right mind if you're on the right track. Basically, God will work with you. Okay, forgive you, and you got to ask forgiveness, and it's a whole big thing. But you see, ethics rehabilitation centers is what we need. People got to understand that behavior is totally unacceptable. You can't do that. But we look at all the homicides in society that are committed because of financial desperation. It's for the love of money. People love money and they want it so much that they'd rather kill somebody and live with that and have the money than not. I mean, it's sick. That's the world we live in, man. We're screwed up. But listen, it's sort of like these littering fines. You ever see that $1,000 fine here in California for littering? Hey, it would be much more effective if they made it $50, because then they knew cops would actually pull people over. Because a lot of cops say, "Oh God, that's going to put these people over the top." Hey, so many people are living on the edge, you know, living on a shoestring, and they paycheck away from homelessness. The cops know that. They're not going to $1,000. You saw the guy throw a cigarette butt out, whatever. But for $50, his cops say, "Yeah, that's dangerous. That could start a fire." Yeah, it's unsightly. Whatever it is you threw out, piece of paper, gum wrapper, whatever, it's unsightly. So, you know, for $50, yeah, I'll pull him over. Somehow I come up with $50. You understand? It's like that's with the ethics rehab. So if people think, wow, they've got the capital punishment, so that's really risque, that's really taboo, I'll show them I'm a big bad demon. I know people think they're delusional, man. I mean, they get demons. I don't know how anybody gets in a mindset of being a murderer. I'm so far removed. It's like, I'm trying to save lives here, buddy. I mean, you shame my entire gender, because a lot of times it's men, but sometimes it's women too. I mean, they're not exempt from committing horrific crimes. It involves money and murdering people, and it's like horrible. God, it's just it's demonic. How can I explain it except to say I don't get it? They're delusional. They're demonic. But you've got to be a shrewd as serpent, citizen of doves, and be wary that those people exist, that they might snap at any minute, and they've lost all hope. But you understand, they'll end up in an ethics rehab center before something happens. We should have nobody being financially desperate on earth. Okay, that would prevent a lot of the problems right then and there. Do you understand? The vast majority of crime is committed because of financial desperation. So it changed the entire paradigm, our perception, our perspective on everything like this. So, we could get away with just ethics rehab centers if nobody is desperately poor unnecessarily. We don't need it. Everybody can be rich. The system cannot break down as long as people have that instinct, that need to be appreciated, to be useful, because they don't want to be useless. It's as simple as that. It's the way God made them. I mentioned last week that I've been working my ass off since I was 15. It was actually before that, because I was the first mate on my dad's boat, sailing the Mediterranean and other places. But he put me to work pretty young, helping him work on boats. Even when I was 5 years old in Manhattan Beach, Southern California, I helped him build his first little sailboat there. And do a little something. Even a 5-year-old can do a little something. And I've enjoyed it. But I haven't worked long hours. I've never been one of these 9 to 5, 40-hour week. I couldn't do it, never could. And I'm really glad I didn't, because I like to do a lot of other things with my mind and just humdrum work. But I work hard. When I do work, I put my whole heart and soul into it. I do it with all my might. And I try to do as good a job as I possibly can. And I've been an artist at what I do, and that's what I enjoy thinking of myself as. It's an art, what I do, landscaping. But I do a lot of other things. I've tried my hand at many things and done a lot of stuff and want to do a lot of stuff. But innovating is one thing. I think as I get more and more mature age-wise, that's something I think I might get into if I can afford to do it. NBC put a rumored hit on Trump about this Putin putting a bounty on U.S. troops in the Middle East. Yeah, that's more of this Russian nonsense, The elitists hate Russia now because they're going true capitalism, and we're not. So they're going to outshine us and make us look bad. You wonder, this is National UFO Day or International, I don't know. But you know what? Why our governments don't want you to know, these elitists at the top? Because information is empowering. It would change your entire perception, your perspective. If you knew with absolute certainty we had visitors from other worlds, okay, you understand? But that's the reality. Okay, it's all in your Bible. It's just history. There's been sightings throughout history. How do you believe any history if you can't believe testimonials, eyewitness testimonials? It's all true. It's all real. So what? Get over it. Big deal. That's the way I feel. I mean, I'm not traumatized at all about the idea that, of course, there's been interactions with other beings that God's created in our universe forever, since the dawn of creation. They come up with this term Karen because of this stupid, idiot, delusional white woman that was racist and came down on this poor black lady. But, that's not fair. If my name was Karen, I'll tell you what, we got a really cute reporter here locally, and her name is Karen. And pretty thing. But she, it's not fair. I mean, if I was her, I'd feel pretty funk. I mean, hey, you know what? I mean, it just, the stigma, it's kind of silly, isn't it? But Karen, don't feel bad, okay, if I'm talking to you. The mainstream media decides what is too graphic to show. What gets me is like we get to watch Mr. George Floyd die at almost 9 minutes. We watch him, okay, the whole video, unblurred, nothing, and I mean, that's fine. Okay, but I mean, you think of other stuff that they say, oh no, we can't let you see this or that. I mean, why? Because it would have an impact, impress upon us something. I mean, it's pretty goofy. Censorship is pretty goofy. And if I was a woman, one of my favorite things, if I got to go out and run an errand, when I come home and it's hot, first thing I love to do is take off my shirt. So I really do feel sorry for the gals. You know, it's kind of nice to be a man and be able to do that without any stigma. But the poor ladies, I mean, they can't do that. And so, you know what? I'm a real lady lover. Ladies, I love you. I so much, all of you. I mean, and immature men, I blame them. All these women that want to get implants and all this in their breath. I say, you know what? I love the women. I think are the cutest. Really, sometimes they're just the most humble. And you know, often that's ladies that are small on top. Who cares? I mean, if you're a mature man, I mean, a woman's a woman, dude. I mean, every guy knows that. And that has nothing to do with her femininity. Okay, she's every bit as attractive. I mean, you could fall in love with it. It has nothing to do with love. It's strictly a physical trait. And everybody's got body hang-ups, right? And so, but I just want ladies to know that. To me, I mean, it means nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I'm glad that's the person I choose to be because you can't blame me